4:14 a.m. January 1st, 2026. At the newly repaired Nova Kakhovka Hydropower Dam on the Dnipro River, a Russian site manager lights a cigarette, completely unaware that a 800-pound stealth JAS-SM is already skimming the water just 50 feet above the surface inbound at high subsonic speed. 30 seconds. That's all that stands between months of frantic construction, hundreds of millions of dollars in Russian concrete, and a catastrophic structural failure triggered by a single button press. But Russia's fatal mistake wasn't failing to intercept the missile, it was rebuilding the dam at all. Ukraine didn't just strike a target, they waited for the reservoir to reach maximum capacity, turning millions of tons of water pressure into a weapon against its own creators. Last month, the world watched as a lone, battle-scarred MiG-29 used a clever bait-and-switch strategy to crack the Nova Kakhovka infrastructure. Moscow was humiliated. They didn't just want to fix the breach. They wanted to prove they could out-engineer the problem. For the next 30 days, Russian engineers worked in a frantic 24/7 construction cycle, pouring millions of tons of heavy concrete and installing massive precast sluice gates. To the Kremlin, this wasn't just a repair, it was a $400 million no-entry sign for the Ukrainian military. By January 1st, they believed they had finally won. The water levels were rising, the taps in Crimea were ready to turn on, and the cooling systems for the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant were stabilizing. Everything seemed secure. However, Moscow missed the most important rule of modern high-stakes logistics. Never build a target faster than your opponent can upgrade their delivery system. While Russian engineers were sweating over concrete drying times, the pilot known as the Dam Buster was undergoing an upgrade of his own. He isn't strapped into that old analog MiG-29 anymore. He's now sitting in the cockpit of a modernized F-16 Fighting Falcon outfitted with a specialized NATO standard digital adapter. It's an upgrade from a 90s flip phone to a 2026 iPhone, but instead of a camera, you get the JAS-SM, a 800-pound stealth ghost with more processing power than a gaming PC. But here is where the mission turns from difficult to nearly impossible. Russia hasn't just repaired the dam, they've turned the entire sector into a gravestone sanctuary, literally. They have deployed the S-400 Triumph, whose 92 N6E gravestone radar scans a staggering 250 miles in every direction. And to prevent a repeat of the drone swarms, they've brought in the rare Panzer SM straight from Moscow's own defense perimeter. This VIP version carries 48 mini-missiles specifically designed to intercept small targets with surgical precision. If you are the Ukrainian mission commander, you are staring at a fortress that can see you coming from 5 cities away and has 48 fingers on the trigger. If you fly high, the S-400 deletes you. If you send drones, the Panzer SM shreds them. To win, Ukraine doesn't need more firepower. They need a tidal ghost strategy that exploits the one thing Russian sensors can't see: the fatal arrogance of their own defense algorithms. 3:45 a.m. The freezing sky above the Dnipro suddenly ripples with phantom signatures. The F-16 Dam Buster releases its first wave, 2 miniature air-launched decoys and 10 Echo drones. These aren't high-tech predators, they are Corvo PPDS drones, literally weaponized cardboard flat packs held together by industrial tape and ingenuity. But as they lift into the freezing night, they carry a payload far more dangerous than explosives, a specialized radar reflector that makes a $50 piece of cardboard look like a multi-million-dollar F-16 on a Russian radar screen. This is the Reverse Echo 2.0. If you were sitting in a Russian command bunker right now looking at a screen suddenly flooded with 12 high-speed targets screaming toward your most valuable dam, would you be able to tell the difference between a real jet and a cardboard box? Tell me in the comments. Would you pull the trigger? Inside the Panzer SM command vehicle, Sergeant Ivan isn't guessing. He's grinning. Ivan was handpicked for this mission, brought in from Moscow to guard the new Kakhovka with the latest toy in the Kremlin's arsenal, the Panzer SM. Look at these amateurs! Ivan sneers to his co-driver, the blue light of the monitor reflecting in his arrogant eyes. He slams the engage button. The vehicle rocks violently as the first twin salvo of interceptors streaks into the dark. One by one, the Ukrainian icons vanish in digital puffs of smoke. Ivan feels like a god. He's laughing now, caught in the adrenaline high of a 90% intercept rate. But while Ivan is celebrating his heroism, his commander in the rear is starting to hyperventilate. Here is the math that Ivan is too blinded by pride to see. Each of those kills, Ivan is racking up costs. The Russian taxpayers are roughly $150,000. He is using a high-precision Mach 3 interceptor, a masterpiece of Russian engineering, to vaporize a piece of cardboard and a handful of AAA batteries. But the real uh-oh moment is about to hit Ivan harder than any explosion. When the last of the Corvo drones is swatted out of the sky, Ivan reaches for the trigger again, looking for the next target, but his screen flashes a pale, mocking amber. Magazine depleted. The 48 mini-missiles, the entire specialized payload meant to protect the dam for the night, are gone. Ivan's Moscow Special is now just a $20 million truck with an empty rack. The silence in the cabin is deafening. The smirk on Ivan's face doesn't just fade, it collapses into a mask of pure, unadulterated terror. He looks at his radar one last time. The screen is clear. He thinks the threat is over. He thinks he won the battle. What he doesn't know is that Ukraine is finally breathing a sigh of relief. The bouncer has just used all his bullets on the shadow boxers. Now the real assassin, the one Ivan's radar wasn't even designed to see, is about to step into the light. 4 a.m. While Sergeant Ivan is staring in frozen horror at his empty missile racks, the second act of the title Ghost begins. This time, the buzz in the air is different. It's deeper, more predatory. 4 Hunter drones, the Ukrainian-made Ram-2 loiter just 100 feet above the ground. These aren't just drones, they are electromagnetic bloodhounds. Their only job is to sniff the air for the specific radiation pulse of the S-400's gravestone radar. In the Ukrainian bunker, Glass has his teeth gritted so hard his jaw aches. He's not flying these drones, he's merely guiding their instincts. On his screen, the Ram-2s lock on to the scent. Find him. Glass whispers, his breath fogging the monitor in the cold room. Think of an anti-radiation seeker like a moth to a flame. The more the Russian S-400 radar tries to see the threat, the more it creates a neon sign for the Ram-2 to follow. It's a tactical paradox. The S-400's greatest strength, its massive radar power, is now its death warrant. Back at the dam, the Russian S-400 crew finally spots the incoming Ram-2s. But they are too low, hiding in the clutter of the tree line. In a fit of panic, the Russians launch 2 heavy interceptors. These are missiles designed to kill strategic bombers, now being fired at drones the size of a suitcase. The sky rips open. 2 Ram-2s vanish in a blinding flash of orange light, a significant thermal event that shakes the ground. The Russian commander lets out a jagged breath. He thinks he's safe, but he forgot the math of the swarm. The remaining 2 Ram-2s follow the radar beam straight to the source. They don't just impact, they perform a surgical strike on the 92 N6E radar face. Inside his Panzer vehicle, Ivan watches his main tactical display turn into a screen of gray static. His heart drops into his stomach. The gravestone, the 250-mile eye that protected the entire southern front, has just gone dark. For the next 4 minutes, the Russian air defense in this sector is legally blind. No data, no targets, just 4 minutes of absolute terrifying silence. Ivan's hands are shaking now, slick with cold sweat. It's different this time, he stammers, his voice cracking. The bouncer is dead and we're out of ammo. While the Russians are staring at their static screens, the third wave has already entered the water. And this time, they aren't looking for radar, they're looking for concrete. 4:05 a.m., the radar is dead, the Panzer is empty, and the Russian garrison is screaming into their radios for backup. But underwater, the real nightmare has just arrived. 6 low-profile Sea-Baby USVs, codenamed Shark 01 through Shark 06, are slicing through the freezing Dnipro. These aren't just boats, they are 2,000-pound semi-submersible assassins. Only their tiny antennas break the surface, making them look like nothing more than drifting logs to the naked eye. In the Ukrainian command bunker, the Sea-Baby operator, a former tech startup founder, adjusts his headset. His hands are clammy, his eyes bloodshot from staring at the low-light feed. Shark 01, you're on point. Give them a door. Shark 01 isn't aiming for the dam yet. It carries a specialized cutting charge. Using the twisted metal and debris from last month's attack as physical camouflage, it slips through a gap in the defenses that the Russians were too arrogant to finish repairing. The underwater shockwave rips through the heavy steel trash racks and floating barriers like they were made of toothpicks. The path is open, but the Russians aren't going down without a fight. High above the distinctive whop 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 of a K-52 Alligator attack helicopter tears through the air. The Russian pilot is frantic, dumping flares and spraying 30mm cannon fire into the black water. Diversion team, go! Shark 02 and Shark 03 pull a suicidal maneuver. They veer away from the dam, charging straight at two Russian patrol boats. The Russian sailors on deck are screaming, firing Kalashnikovs into the dark in a blind panic. The two patrol boats vanish in twin pillars of orange fire. It's a brutal sacrifice, but it works. The K-52 swerves to engage the burning wreckage, thinking the threat is neutralized. They are dead wrong. Shark 04, 05, and 06 are now just meters from the dam's brand new $400 million sluice gates. The Russian shore guards finally see the ripples. They open fire with everything they have: heavy machine guns, RPGs, even hand grenades. Shark 04 and 05 are hit, exploding in mid-water with a force that sends a geyser of mud 100 feet into the air. The Russian guards cheer. They think they've saved the day. But their cheers turn to ash in their throats as Shark 06, the last assassin, slams directly into the base of the central concrete gate. A 2,000-pound thermal event erupts against the unbreakable Russian concrete. The dam doesn't collapse, not yet. But the physics are undeniable. The massive explosion creates deep internal stress fractures. You can hear it, a low, guttural groan of twisting rebar and cracking stone. Water begins to hiss through the new cracks, a tiny leak that is about to become a deluge. In the sky, 30 miles away, the dam buster pilot feels the shockwave vibrate through his F-16's airframe. He sees the flash on the horizon. He's been circling in the dark, a silent predator, waiting for the bouncer to get distracted and the door to be kicked open. His thumb flips the safety off the red launch button. His head-up display locks onto the thermal signature of the leaking, weakened gate. "Gate is compromised," he says, his voice cold and steady despite the 9 Gs of adrenaline dumping into his system. "Moving in for the execution." The Russians think they survived the worst. They have no idea that the invisible ghost is only 60 seconds away from ending their $400 million dream forever. 4:12 a.m. In the cockpit of the F-16, the dam buster pilot is performing a high-speed tightrope walk. He's skimming the ground at just 30 feet, the belly of his jet almost kissing the freezing mud of the Dnipro banks. At this height, he is physically below the gravestone radar's horizon. He's hiding in the shadows of the Earth itself, exploiting a blind spot that even Russia's most advanced software can't fix. With a sharp clunk, 4 AGM-158 JASSM missiles detach from the wings. These are the crown jewels of stealth technology, two 800-pound ghosts powered by high-efficiency turbojets. Suddenly, the Russian electronic warfare units go into overdrive. They flood the atmosphere with a massive GPS jamming field designed to scramble the brains of any incoming Western missile. If these were standard rockets, they would be spinning into the dirt right now. But Ukraine's JSSM doesn't care about GPS. Inside the missile's nose, an imaging infrared seeker wakes up. It doesn't listen for satellites. It sees. It's like the Face ID on your iPhone. But instead of recognizing your face to unlock your bank account, it recognizes the thermal silhouette of the Nova Kakhovka Dam to unlock an apocalypse. It's the ultimate map without a compass technology, completely immune to Russian jamming. Back in the Panzer SM vehicle, Sergeant Ivan is staring at his radar screen until his eyes burn. "Nothing," he whispers, his voice trembling. "The sky is empty." He's wrong. The JSM is coated in a radar-absorbent paint so advanced that it makes a high-end matte black Lamborghini look like a neon sign. It's not until the missiles are just 5 miles out, seconds from impact, that they finally register as a tiny, flickering micro-dot on Ivan's screen. "Contact!" Ivan screams, slamming his fist onto the launch console. "Target is 5 miles! Engage! Engage!" The final Russian defense flares to life. 12 interceptor missiles streak into the dark, a desperate wall of steel and fire. It's a chaotic, high-stakes game of intercept. 3 JASSMs are vaporized in mid-air. The Russian crew lets out a jagged cheer, their hearts pounding in their throats. They think they've done it. They think they saved the Kremlin's prize, but they missed one. The 4th JASSM, using its onboard AI to execute a final violent jink, slips through the exploding debris. It's not just hitting the dam, it's homing in on the exact thermal signature of the stress fractures Shark 06 left behind. The math is over, the physics are about to take over, and Russia's about to learn that you can't repair a target that water already wants to destroy. The JSSM doesn't just hit the Nova Kakhovka Dam, it executes a 2-stage surgical procedure. The WDU-42B penetrating warhead is a masterpiece of destructive physics. Stage 1 is a shaped charge precursor that burns through 5 feet of Russian reinforced concrete in a microsecond, creating a perfect entry tunnel. Stage 2, the main explosive slides deep into that tunnel, buried into the very spine of the dam before it detonates. This is what engineers call a confined explosion. Because the blast happens deep inside the concrete, the energy has nowhere to go. It ripples through the structure, turning millions of dollars of Russian unbreakable concrete into a fine gray powder from the inside out. And then the most powerful ally of Ukraine joins the fight: physics. The reservoir is at peak capacity. Millions of tons of water are pressing against the weakened structure with the force of 1,000 African elephants standing on every single square meter. The tiny leak Shark 06 created is now a gaping breach. The water doesn't just flow through, it acts like a massive hydraulic hammer, tearing the steel rebar apart and washing away the temporary levees as if they were made of Lego. Russia didn't just lose a dam, they lost a month of 24/7 construction, hundreds of millions in high-grade materials, and the reputation of the Panzer SM. Moscow's elite defense system proved it can be blinded by cardboard and bypassed by stealth. So which part of this masterclass impressed you more, the Dam Buster F-16 and its ghost, JASM, or the Shark USVs that kick the door open type air for the F-16 or water for the Sea Baby in the comments below? If you support the underdog using high IQ strategies to change the rules of war, smash that like button and subscribe. The math of this war is changing every day and you don't want to miss the next deep dive. Bye for now.